Pariah is an excellent film, another lesbian film, and it's a coming-of-age story about our protagonist, Alike. Now, Alike is a masked lesbian who, has gay friends, hangs out in queer spaces, but then has to go home to her highly religious mother, who is absolutely against anything to do with homosexuality. And right from the start of the movie, we see Alike having to change out of her mask clothes and into something a bit more feminine and a little more tailored towards her mother's palate, which is kind of emotional to watch in itself. And even then, it seems it's never quite good enough. Her mum wants her to be more and more feminine. So there's that conflict and that tension right from the beginning. Alike has a younger sister who, even though they don't always get on, and sometimes her sister winds her up and teases her, Alike actually confides in. In fact, there's one scene where Alike buys a strap for the first time and tries it on, and it's totally the wrong colour. It doesn't match her or anything, but she confides in her sister with that, and her sister kind of uses it a little bit as leverage to manipulate. But ultimately, that's a typical sibling dynamic, and her sister actually really has her back in this film. Alike's father is a police officer and is a little more protective and understanding of his daughter than the mother is. There's one scene where the father takes her on his rounds when he's working, and some of the guys at the station make fun of her dress sense and the fact that she's more boyish, and her dad comes down on them, doesn't like that at all. So that's really nice to see. Alike's never been with a girl physically, so Alike's basically a virgin and has her eye on someone at high school. In fact, that's why she bought the strap, was to try and sort of impress this girl, and this girl has made it clear that she likes girls as well as boys, and Alike is interested, and there's a little chemistry there, and it's nice. However, Alike ends up chickening out. She goes to the club with her best friend, who is also gay and also masked, and tries to wear the strap ahead of time to kind of just in case, be prepared sort of thing, and ends up being really uncomfortable with it. So Alike sees the girl from school that she likes, but then can't really step up to the plate and just messes up that connection, basically, which is kind of disappointing, but also, understandable. Alike realizes that she's bitten off more than she can chew, and maybe the strap is not quite her thing. Now, Alike and her best friend do everything together. They have a really close bond, and it's her friend's self-proclaimed mission to get Alike laid. And then Alike meets this girl through the mom circuit at school, and Alike ends up having to walk this girl home. And basically, they don't get on. They do not get on. The girl thinks that Alike is quite reserved and uppity, and Alike just doesn't seem interested in the girl. She finds it laborious having to babysit, what she considers babysitting, by walking this girl home. So they get off to a rocky start. But then the girl keeps trying and tries to kind of find level ground with Alike. And they actually begin to sort of get on. And then what happens is the girl makes a pass at Alike. At first, Alike is freaked out by this and is like, no. But then the girl tries again, and they end up kissing and then ultimately being intimate one night. Now, this is where it gets really, heart-wrenching. The next morning, when Alike wakes up at this girl's house, the girl has changed. This different person. She's tidying up and moving things and being quite rude to Alike and just saying, can you get out, sort of thing. And, last night meant nothing, by the way. And just, don't tell anyone about this, and can you just leave? And it's just, you really feel for Alike. That was her first experience, and this is how she gets treated afterwards. So, unfortunately, it's the reality for a lot of lesbians and a lot of LGBTQ people. People who are ashamed to be with you in public, but they're happy to be with you in private. Does Alike's dad know that she's gay? I think yes. Is he in denial about it? Absolutely. He only can accept the fact that she's masked. Anything about her being gay is a little... He doesn't want to hear it. He knows it's true, but he just doesn't want to hear it. And he acts surprised when she finally comes out with it. Even though she's never been interested in boys, and she's told her parents that, she's not interested in boys. And it comes to a head one day when Alike has a confrontation with her mother and father in the kitchen. It gets emotional, it gets really intense. I had tears in my eyes because it's so relatable. And Alike just yells at her mother, "I'm gay, I'm a lesbian." And her mum just charges at her, pins her to the wall. And that's when Alike yells that she's gay, and she yells it again. And that scene is emotive. It's really emotional, and it's just really hard to watch, at times. But the dad kind of defends Alike. Now, while this is all going on, Alike has a love interest that has been there for her the whole time. But Alike hasn't really ever noticed, because Alike never saw her best friend in that light, in that way. But her best friend actually declares her love for Alike. Alike blows her off for some time, and then they have a little fallout. But then her friend admits that she has feelings for Alike and that she loves her. This is mask for mask, stud for stud. And it's one of the few films out there that celebrates that. So for that reason alone, this film is worth watching. But again, there's so much value in this film. You'll be spoilt for choice on what your favorite theme is. With the cinematography, the gritty lights, it's set in New York, it's set in Brooklyn, and it's a film written and directed by Dee Reese, one of Queen Latifah's really good friends, who's also lesbian, and it's slightly autobiographical. So again, for that reason alone, really interesting stuff, definitely worth a watch. In fact, I'll be doing a video on Dee Reese very soon. All in all, I give Pariah a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason it doesn't get a 5 from me is because the love scene was very brief and it was more implied than explored. But it was beautifully done and a very tasteful movie, really heart-wrenching. The ending, unlike many films that end serendipitously, this ending is unfortunately not the best, but it's reality. It's just a real gritty indie film that shows you don't always get the happy ending that you want, but at the same time, there are elements of positivity in the ending. So it's definitely worth checking out, and that's what saves the ending. That's what makes the ending beautiful. If you've seen the film, then leave a comment down below as to what you thought about it, and don't forget to like and follow for more.